afternoon, green evening, wherever you are. We extend a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters across the world. Today is the World Teachers Day, and we are taking you to beautiful northeast part of India, 8 beautiful states. And when I look back and I close my eyes, I look at Tripura, I look at Manipur, I go to Assam, I go to Meghalaya, I go to Arunachal, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim, all the 8 beautiful states, beautiful people, the art, craft, culture, cuisine, dances, music, education, humanity, human values, whatever we talk about. UNESCO, United Nations, way back in 1994 decided in Paris that they should observe World Teachers Day every year on 5th of October. And what a coincidence. 5th of September is India's Teachers Day and 5th of October is the World Teachers Day. Teachers have done a wonderful job for all of us. They have done remarkable work. We salute them. We are thankful to them. Our deepest gratitudes and salutations to them. During this pandemic, right from the March 2020 onwards, they have been the great supporter, and they made sure that the education moves on by some means. Whatever you adopted, in spite of all the challenges, we are grateful to all of you. And that's why this year also, the theme which has been taken by United Nations is Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. We are privileged this morning, this afternoon, this evening, and I'm grateful to all my friends. Those are joining from Melbourne, those are joining from Adelaide, Brisbane, Sydney, and of course, Wellington, Auckland, and a couple of other places, because it's about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and you have been very kind. You all told me that you'll be joining. I'm grateful. And the ASEAN countries, particularly Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Brunei, I'm grateful to all 10 of you. You're wonderful people. Thank you very much for joining. Middle East, I'm grateful to all of you. Central Asia, I'm grateful to you. London and the European Union, yes, you all enjoyed wonderful morning and you are getting into the afternoon. So we all are together, and rest of the world, wherever you are, we extend you a very warm welcome. And just before this program, when I got a call from Seychelles, I'm so grateful to the principal, Mr. Bhatnagar, all the way, who is sitting in the Seychelles, who come from Udaipur, and he is doing a great job with the people over there. So ladies and gentlemen, we extend a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters and world over, all our friends. Let's travel to northeast part of India, beautiful India. And I wish to share one very important information for all of you. Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and the Ministry of Railways. 26th of November, the first train will be steaming off from Safdarjung railway station in Delhi. 14 nights, 15 days tour in all air conditions, second AC and first AC. 14 nights, 15 days tour to the northeast part of India. You'll be traveling to 5 states of northeast. I will disclose that later, but now let's get into the arena where we are into the World Teachers Day mood today. And we have got a very distinguished keynote speaker this morning, this afternoon, this evening. I'm privileged. I personally feel as a soldier that it is a solace to my, soul and to my spirit that yesterday when he did the curtain raiser and he spoke to all of us, if I tell you as a small child, as you grow with the age, you become a small child. My grandchild asked me, Nanu, what are you watching again and again? Yesterday, 7 times I saw that video, which was a curtain raiser for the World Teachers Day program for today by Shri DILIP Mukherjea. He had been very kind. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in extending a very warm welcome today, and let's get into all together different world of education ecosystem. I would request Shri DILIP Mukherjee to kindly deliver the keynote address and to honor this afternoon all of us. With these words, a very hearty welcome to you and pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma. That's a very warm welcome. I feel at home since yesterday. I too am still tingling, and a very warm welcome to the global audience. This is going to be a different type of presentation compared to yesterday because I've done a lot of drawings on slides to facilitate comprehension as well as speed and enable other people to get insights that are beyond just felicitating each other for this auspicious occasion. I'll need to share screen, Dr. Sharma.
Please,
so
all rights are with you, sir.
Right, okay. So
there we are.
So that's my drawing to welcome all of you. And as you can see in the top central section, teach and learn are symbiotic. When you teach, you should be learning. When you learn, you should be teaching. And they complement one another. Love is the only operating system. Teachers have three loves: love of learning, love of learners, and the love of bringing the first two loves together. So that's the dominant theme today. However, I shall be giving insights beyond yesterday, whereby there will be some stark, glaring truths being confronted, because we must act now. It's already imminent, and this is an imperative globally that we've got to be fighting for the futures of our children. We've got to be championing children, and we've got to be making this millennium the brain millennium, the educational millennium. And so I've given the title of my new book, almost finished, Resuscitating Education. It just doesn't apply to education, of course. It's also to business and governance, all sections of humanity. And if I had to do it live, interactively, person to person, and in the form of an educational program, it would be through the world's most powerful learning systems. So the winning outcomes are for all of humanity. And in the current and post-pandemic educational, business, and government domains, we have to salvage our prospects and create new possibilities. This will happen through unleashing genius for all aspects of humankind. Your brain is your business, and we've got to be able to know more about the brain and to use it better. However, we must address the burning issue. Right now, we have a triple pandemic confronting us: biological, psychological, and financial. It is not just COVID-19. It is all hell let loose, 19, 20, 21, and ad infinitum. We have to be able to face that with grit, courage, determination, and competence. Experience and expertise will come right to the front. So the future demands a fresh resume. Anything to do with the future and the past has no relevance right now other than memories. Right now, we have to transform ourselves to become future ready in ways we never anticipated before COVID-19 ambushed us. So we've arrived at the conjunction, a blending of the present and the future tense, which I call the pressure tense. And so we are under this pressure, as I was saying yesterday, whereby we've got to use pressure as a positive, pressure towards possibilities, pressure towards realizing potential, and not succumbing to it in any way. So the first thing that teachers need to understand are that children need self-efficacy skills. These skills are not at all addressed in our educational institutions, neither in our new educational policy. Self-efficacy is a term that is totally relevant. It is the unshakable belief within a child or adult that he or she has what it takes to meet and defeat all obstacles in life via vision, discipline, passion, and conscience. An army of lions, I'm going to show you, led by a sheep. Dr. Sharma, you will know this. An army of lions led by a sheep will always be defeated by an army of sheep led by a lion. I'm saying this right at the outset right now because everything rises and falls on leadership. And self-efficacy is crucial there. It's at the heart of it. So, are your children future ready? That's the question. And are you future ready? Educators, parents, executives, government leaders, are you future ready? Or is this a strange term for you? The first wonder of the world is the mind of a child, and our future prospects depend on this child becoming an adult and leading the world from harm to harmony. We cannot surrender to the vicissitudes of life. We have to march on with positivity and confront a spectrum of possibilities. Now here we are, where it said yesterday, the 100-year lifespan is now a fact. And I'm just going to come off this one and go on to my graphics tablet for a second and draw it over here. You see, if I drew a line like that and you were born here, and we got a 100-year lifespan, and the retirement age is here, let us say 60, for example, right now, then what are you going to do for the remaining 40 years of your life when education has not prepared you to learn how to learn? This term I introduced to you yesterday, and our policies don't have it. All they're doing is dictating what to learn and why they must do it without being cognizant of this section more than ever in human history. A lifespan was here before, then here, then here, then here. Now it is here. What's going to happen? So we've got to consider the 100-year lifespan as a reality. I've done a lot of research on this. Now imagine that when our grandparents were alive and our ancestors before that, if this was a lifespan and this was time, then you died over here and that was it. Your level of accomplishment was there. Several people might not have even reached that high. But today, we are in an exponential age, and that is the zone of focus. This is the exponential reality. So we go there. But what happens here? This is a deadly gap. And this gap is not being addressed in our systems. Every teacher, parent, executive, child needs to know about how to deal with this gap, or the gap is going to engulf them. So if you have a chasm there, you can't possibly cross the chasm in 2 jumps. You have to make an exponential leap. That's why I'm saying we are in the exponential age. You cannot go incrementally forward into the future anymore. It does not exist. So if I explain what I'm talking about in another way, and let's say I come to another page, so I can leave that there in case there are questions. And say I draw 2 circles, and this circle is say your safety zone, and this is your comfort zone. Well, in the past, because the pace of life was slow, what we had was an overlap. So people were very comfortable. There was no gap. But today's reality is that has moved there, that has moved there, and this gap is increasing as we speak. And our education systems are not addressing the gap. Because if people are feeling comfortable where they are hallucinating because they are unsafe. The safety zone has moved away. And if they're feeling safe, they're also hallucinating because they haven't prepared themselves for unintended consequences, lack of anticipatory intelligence, and they can get ambushed by life. The way it is moving today at super high speed. So now I shall go back to the slides and explain something else. So we are here, and now this is what I want to alert you to, that every morning a gazelle wakes up and it starts running. It must run faster than the fastest lion or be killed. Every morning a lion wakes up and it starts running, and it must run faster than the slowest gazelle or go hungry. It doesn't matter whether you're a gazelle or a lion. When the sun comes up, you better start running. So we are in a predator-prey, prey-predator world, and I'm using it as a reality as well as a metaphor in order to explain that we've got to be better prepared, not necessarily for ourselves as adults, but for our children, born and unborn. So we give them a legacy of safety, security, and joy in learning and living. And this is missing right now. Now, I mentioned this orally yesterday in my story, but I did a drawing of it. So this is to do with inclusion, the subject very close to my heart, and also with a lot of very eminent, totally dedicated people here in Shillong at Bethany Society and Mary Rice Center and various other centers over here who are giving their lives and livelihoods on behalf of inclusion. So what do I mean? Through this story, I repeat what I said yesterday. Among the tribes of Northern Natal in South Africa, the most common greeting equivalent to hello in English is the expression sawubona, like the man on the left on the top. It literally means I see you. If you are a member of the tribe, you might reply by saying Sikhona, I am here. The order of the exchange is important. Until you see me, I do not exist. It's as if when you see me, you bring me into existence. And in Sanskrit, as I said, it is soham aham asti. It's ancient wisdom that we are not recognizing because we are marginalizing people. We are not including them. So this meaning, sawubona and sikhona, is implicit in the language, part of the spirit of Ubuntu, a frame of mind prevalent among the people in Africa below the Sahara. The word Ubuntu stems from the folk saying Umuntu Ngumuntu Nagabantu, which from the Zulu culture literally translates as a person because of other people. We must recognize one another. It doesn't depend on nationality and religion and tribe and culture. We are one on a tiny blue dot floating across the cosmos. So if you grow up with this perspective, your identity is based upon the fact that you are seen, that the people around you respect and acknowledge you as a person. But the crucial question here is, especially for our educators and our leaders, how many children are not seen? Why are they not being seen? Why are governments and societies and the citizenry not doing enough to help them become seen and acknowledged and propagated, advanced into the future? So the strong keep pulling up the weak. Then we can say we are civilized. Until then, no. So things are changing, and whenever things are changing fast, what people already know becomes rapidly obsolete. Only the ability to learn fast lasts. But if you haven't been taught how to learn and only to mug and cram, you are going to rot away. I told you yesterday, 3/4 of the word rote, R-O-T-E, is rot, and that is highly dangerous. So in the curriculum, in the pedagogies, in all sorts of educational institutions, as well as in government and business, when they know how to learn, they will learn at the speed of light with breadth and depth and fully inclusive, and this will be real progress. So I call it learning at the speed of light because our neurons can do that. With good teaching, good learning, we can do that. And the real geniuses are the babies that are newly born. Every baby is born a genius, and we send them to school to de-genius them. Those teachers who are totally dedicated, I unreservedly bow down before them. I respect them with my heart and soul. I love them, I honor them, and I learn from them. So I'm not condemning those, but there are too many who are just doing it only for a salary, and children become the victims. Look at this shocking finding. Indian students rank second last in global test. We were only ahead of Kyrgyzstan, 72nd out of 73 countries. Since this, we have not improved. We've come up with new policies and new protocols and new platforms and new visions and dreams and goals, and nothing has been translated into action in an effective, self-efficacious way. We have to take heed. There is a crucial, pressing, dire mandate for us to act now. As I said yesterday, we cannot lapse into saying something must be done. Everyone must say, I must do something. So today, either you're distinct or you're extinct. If you just got a, for example, bachelor's degree or a master's or a PhD or whatever, and you're nothing else, you're extinct because you'll be camouflaged in the multitudes. You have to understand today, being very good is not good enough. It's very boring. You have to be outstanding. And our teachers have to recognize the outstanding possibility in every student, in every child, and within themselves. Now, this is a shocking reality. Can they match it? 80% of the children in their first year of primary school will enter careers that don't exist now, involving technologies and cultures that have not yet emerged. So how are they going to prepare them? The syllabus is obsolete. The textbooks are obsolete because they're not teaching them how to learn. They're not teaching them anything about, as we said yesterday, creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship. This is missing at the school level. They're not even teaching them effectively in college. So we have to cannibalize, creatively destroy the status quo in order to get status in our status quo. In the last few weeks, there's been this hot debate in the media about the seemingly unbridgeable gap between the textbooks and exam papers. I am horrified by our textbooks here. Look at this gap. Where are the textbooks? Where are the exam papers? Where are the exam results? There's shock and consternation all over. Our children are not stupid, but they're being dumbed down in too many cases. I have seen village ladies, guys, children, boys, girls, who are potentially incredibly smart. They only need exposure. They only need an opportunity, and they can outpace anyone in the city. It's not that the poor are dumb. We have a wrong focus when we say poverty reduction. We must have prosperity creation. That is more important across not only the financial spectrum, but across human possibilities across the board. So what is happening in countries in India and abroad? $1 billion average for tuition. And that manner of giving the tuition is also not learning how to learn. It's repetitive. It is reproductive, not productive. This is highly dangerous. And what's happening? Families are going broke as a result because they are lapsing into hope and despair. What I said yesterday, if hope is the only thing you have, it's hopeless. So there appear to be two major problems. This is your brain at war with itself. Poor grasp of language and poor understanding of basics. So they get a word problem and the child is flummoxed. They don't understand what to do. If they do understand, they miss the basics. If they mugged up the basics, maybe they passed the exam. Once the exam has been passed, they've forgotten the basics. So are we a dumb country? Absolutely not. There was a time when India was the learning capital of the world. Indians who go abroad astonish others with their brain power, and those in India also have massive brain power. But I'm opposed to the propagation of the mugging, cramming culture. There is no original thinking encouraged, no imagination encouraged. So education is oxygen, learning is liberation. We are deoxygenating ourselves by not having education leading to learning. Once it goes to learning, we will have liberation. Now, let me tell you this, what's happening through another type of story. If you take 2 glass jars and you put 10 bees in one and 10 flies in another, and you cap the jars and you turn them to their side and you face them in the direction of the sunlight, or any light source. So what happens is that in the beginning, the bees are looking for a way out, but they only go to the back of the jar, to the back, and they keep concussing themselves, banging their heads against the jar until they die, because they have only one formula, one direction. Imagine if our army did that. My goodness, there's no improvisation then. Whereas the flies, they try everything possible and suddenly they fly out. So the flies fly free and the bees die. The bees are focused only on convergent thinking. They are converging to a point and they meet their death. The flies are using diversion thinking, and they try all possibilities and they fly free. This is missing in our education system. It's only converging through analysis. There is no divergence whereby we can get possibilities, ideas, insights across a spectrum whereby anything works and can be made to work. But the existing system is there's only one way to work and no other way, because authors have written a book in a particular way, so you're not allowed to think in any other way. So what happens is, they follow the path of the bees. They could have passed the exam, they could have got a top job. It doesn't mean they're necessarily happy or fulfilled. There are many excellent, brilliant people who have professions due to academic success, but not emotional success. The child must be nurtured and nourished to be joyous. There must be joy in learning and joy in life. So they move from hope to fulfillment. So we overlook that possibility. Now, I go back to the teach learn. Teachers have to take a step down, all the way down. Even when they're teaching little children, they must kneel down below the eye level of the child and look up at the child, so the child is not having to look up and stress its neck because there's a taller person in front of them. Then you connect, then you bond. At that level, communication is not threatening. What I see is the teacher is standing, the teacher is postulating and dictating, and the poor child or children are sitting down looking up. Wrong angle, wrong formula. Teach learn cannot happen like that. Now, another analogy, you can count the number of apples or seeds in an apple, but can you count the number of apples in a seed? This refers to the teachers too. Imagine one seed is one teacher. That one teacher, if she or he is great, she can determine, architect, navigate the destinies of the children she comes across. I've encountered teachers in different fields, art, martial arts, drawing, writing, where I've gone for specialized courses. And that one person in each case has metamorphosed my life into moving from a static state to a dynamic, and for me to recognize infinity in terms of our possibilities. Life, I spoke to you yesterday about life and what it means to me. So I did the drawing to make it come through. L is for leadership, I is for innovation, F is for fellowship, and E is for entrepreneurship. And this must be a part of the school curriculum, college curriculum, office curriculum, government curriculum. This must be part of national policy, international policy, world policy. Unfortunately, we have short-term views and lives are being lost even as we speak right now. As we speak, species are being made extinct thanks to human misagencies. Now look at this. The red tape. My question is the red tape the only thing holding your edifice together? Is the government being held by red tape? Are the schools and colleges being held by red tape? Is the business being held by red tape? Are the people so scared they can't speak out? And the only thing holding the place together is the red tape? Shocking. And this is a reality that is only too true. Now, I want to introduce you to a new reality, the marriage of the carbon and the silicon brains. The human brain is a carbon brain, and the computer brain or the silicon chip is this. What is that? What is silicon? It's a piece of dust with information on it. It was with us in the Stone Age, but we didn't know what to do. Now it's got intelligence. It's merged with the carbon brain as we speak, and we are becoming, in a sense, artificial. I don't like the term artificial intelligence. It's an oxymoron, because artificial is not intelligent and intelligent is not artificial. But we are becoming hybrid humans where digital technology is merging with our neurotechnology, and we are becoming hyper intelligent in terms of our possibilities. But we have to be careful. Are you ready for a microchip to make you obsolete? There are apps and algorithms coming out by kids creating them, teenagers, youngsters, experienced people, all flavors, and they are making people in middle management obsolete. So middle management means nothing now. We have, what are we teaching our children for? The teachers need to know. The teachers need to be adept in adopting algorithms, apps, and exchanging perspectives with the children so that they can grow together. Change is difficult, not changing is fatal. You see, there are so many rigid people. We were talking about flexibility yesterday, and the opposite of that is rigidity. Those people, whether they, for example, I see it here, where there's a lot of people who have the conviction they must not be COVID-19 vaccinated. No way, they must not. It could be black magic, white magic, rainbow magic, whatever, but if they take it, they'll die. So this is their conviction, right? So the same thing can be extrapolated across all sectors of society. So not changing is fatal. So we are living in these exponential times. I just come back to show you what I was showing you earlier. And what is happening is that we've got to be able to have a framework in our syllabuses and our systems where we are indulging in exponential learning. We have to have a full spectrum consciousness whereby exponential learning across subjects embraces different subjects where you have true blended learning. Yesterday, I gave the example of a physics teacher not knowing anything about chemistry and vice versa. But this goes across the board. So I'm being contacted by crucially challenged educators asking how we can deal with these setbacks during the pandemic. But it's not only during the pandemic. It's not only to beat the pandemic. It's been with us for some time, pre-pandemic. And it's going to be post-pandemic unless we do something about it now. So I'm going to give you 10 examples shortly. And I call them the 10 commandments of crucial challenges that confront businesses, governance, and education today. And the clock is ticking. This is a time bomb, and we cannot procrastinate. So the first thing is our children and our teachers and our executives and our ministers are being faced with information overload and low speed of information processing. They don't know what to do. And this is why I referred to the world's most powerful learning systems, because once you learn how to learn, you can do all of what I'm saying now. Then we have poor retention and recall, memory logjam. So learning is sabotaged, so they think mugging is the solution. But if memory is addressed through applied imagination, then you do not have to memorize. Yesterday, I was explaining about the distinction between memory and memorizing. I don't want memorization. I want memory, effortless. Memorization, pain. The third thing is a frozen status quo. You can't break from the pack, but nothing grows in ice. You're stuck there because you feel safe and because it's the democracy of the dead. There are other friends of yours who are stuck. There are the multitudes that are stuck, and the leadership is a sheep and not a lion. And so they can't break from the pack. 4, the inability to adapt to competitive challenges. So there's a famine of ideas. They just don't know how to get ideas. And believe me, it's so easy to teach somebody how to get ideas. Not a part of our syllabus, not in our textbooks, all missing. Inability to read fast, deep, wide, and with varied extensivity. Poor knowledge gathering. And what was I explaining yesterday? I read 10 books a week, and I wish I was reading 100 books a week, but not yet. But the human brain can do that. Our children, our executives, our teachers are predominantly reading below the level of the United Nations for functional literacy. United Nations level is 400 words per minute. They're reading 200 to 220 on average, and with poor comprehension. They turn the page, they've forgotten most of what they just read. Poor idea generation capability, so they're stuck in a rut, their brain is blocked. The only difference between a rut and a grave is the depth. This is a living death. I mean, any other country surrounding us or far away, if they have their people learning how to generate ideas, they're going to beat you. Post-World War II, Japan was hungry for ideas. They hired kids, teenagers, young minds to say, just give us the idea and we'll pay you. They had to relearn how to think, relearn how to get ideas. So at this point, I want to emphasize that the biggest crisis in the world today is not global warming, not overpopulation or water shortage or poverty or terrorism. It is the inability to think clearly. If we all learned how to think clearly, and I gave you 4 modes of thinking yesterday: critical thinking, creative thinking, systems thinking, and design thinking, not part of the school curriculum. Just analyze oneself to death, and then you graduate with what? Nothing. So this is important. Then poor articulation skills, lack of eloquence. There's so many cases here where people say, oh, well, and you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean until you tell me what you mean. And this must be inculcated from a very young age so that eloquence is a natural part of the evolution of a child and teacher and executive. Meager knowledge of the human brain and how to use it to learn, how to learn, and fast. So, as I said so many times now, this is missing. It's a glaring omission from our considerations. When I was working with Tony Buzan some years ago, he sadly passed away about 18 months ago. He's the originator of mind mapping. We discussed about 2 governments where we could teach them these type of techniques. The Turkish parliament, every minister knew how to learn. And then under President Vicente Fox in Mexico, every member of his cabinet was taught how to learn. This is missing in our states. Every single state in India has nothing like this. Then the inability to move ahead from stress to strength to success. What happens? People are stuck at the level of stress. So they are debilitated, they don't have the strength, and they are not successful. As I said, they are successful. They're hallucinating themselves, spending time in an organization, getting promoted due to longevity, not meritocracy, and that's the state of affairs. And the 10th one, inability to translate an idea into a project for execution towards winning outcomes. Every school must be given corporate challenges, business challenges. Throw it at the kids. I've done this. Throw it at the kids. Teach them how to think, learn, create, get ideas. They will come up with the ideas that executives have not learned how to do so. I guarantee you this. And reward the kids. Reward their teachers. They need to be recognized. And we can do it. India is a very creative country that has been engaged and not engaged, as I said earlier. So the 10 commandments, as I said, are encapsulated on the one slide like this. And this is part of the book I'm writing right now. This has to become a government mandate, not for my glory, for the welfare of the children who are born and unborn. Now, there are 3 crucial questions for educators. They've been doing the same job for many years. And the new entrants, they've got a B.Ed degree, which is, for me, B.Dead, because it has no value unless they are learning every day. So when was the last new subject you learned a significant amount about? So new subject. They may be teaching geography, for example, but what was new? Daily, every single day, something new has to enter their consciousness. What were the circumstances that led you to that learning? What impelled you? Right now, I'm being the agent provocateur, and I'm saying learn every day. I learn every day. But if I don't learn enough, I'm really terrible. The next day, I learn twice as much. Learning, you have to be burning for learning. In what ways did you learn? This is crucial because we are not teaching them the ways that are powerful, relevant, fast, and that are intercontinental. They can be understood across the world. The apprenticeship model is not in our schools. I came through as a marine apprentice, and I learned so much as an engineering apprentice, but it's missing in our educational regimes. So there are 4 essential steps I'm proposing for the teaching learning mastery to be established. The passive mode is deep observation. Silently. You must be able to concentrate and concentrate.
Sir, your audio is giving. Sir, your audio is giving us a trouble, sir.
This is the network.
Please, sorry. we got to take on the last two sentences again. I'm sorry, my apologies. We missed on the last two sentences, sir.
Okay,
The last
I'll just go
we
back
could
because the
hear.
network here is crackling.
Yeah, the last we could
Can
hear.
you hear me now?
Yes, yes. The last we could hear, we require burning for learning.
Okay, then
Yeah.
how do you go about it? For the teaching, learning mastery to be attained, the first is the passive mode, deep observation, whereby you concentrate and contemplate on what you're observing. You have time to reflect and time to recite what it is you've reflected upon in order to articulate clearly, lucidly, so that there's an exchange of perspectives taking place. This will create exponential benefits through synergy. It will not be a teacher one way dictating. It will be a mutual exchange of ideas. Then the Q mode is questioning the questions. We learn best by questions, not by answers. The answers are a formality when the questions are accurate and the questions are incisive. The practice mode, skills acquisition, hands-on skills. The word for manager, manage, comes from the Latin word for hand. It means that you are hands-on, and we are full of companies with hands-off management. So we need children being hands-on. And then the fourth is the active mode, experimentation. We do not encourage experimentation because experimentation means getting wrong answers before you get the right answer. So wrong answers are not tolerated. So before you come to Archimedes' Eureka on the extreme right below, you have to break the pattern, explore and exploit new ideas, and then come to Eureka, right? Otherwise, you're going to miss out. And this is missing, and it's not making the connection between the classroom and the boardroom. So the travelator between this is the bridge between the classroom and the boardroom, which the teacher must establish for the child. Learning is making a bridge between what you don't know to what you know. And that bridge involves experimentation, not encouraged. You only must get the right answer. How are you going to be learning then? You're just repeating. You're regurgitating, but you're not learning. So what's happening is you need a Venn of all four circles coming together into a sweet spot, because that is what is going to give mastery, teaching and learning mastery. So this Venn is, I think, should be applicable to every textbook, every subject, every institution. Examples of people who are like that were Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Charles Darwin, Michael Faraday, Thomas Edison, so many from India, I'm sure, our scientists, our great thinkers. India is full of them. But I'm asking the question, what about you? To each educator, each member of the audience, and of myself, right? Here's an example of a mind map I've done. It's 4 books in one of, maybe you knew him, Sir Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen Covey. He, at the time when I was contracted to do this, he had written 4 books, all bestsellers, and these are all his 4 books. And at the same time, the same businessman contracted me to address another person's work, the world's greatest creative thinker, Dr. Edward de Bono. I don't know if you met him. Dr. Edward de Bono sadly passed away a few months ago. This is 22 books on 1 sheet of paper that I did of his, and he signed the original. Now, these 2 sheets of paper, if you put them back to back, is 26 books. That's the portability of information. Can you imagine our existing regimes allowing you to do that? You'll be writing thousands of pages. So the children, teachers, administrators must learn how to do this. The Turkish parliament learned, the Mexican parliament learned. Why can't we? And we can do it. And we can do it in multiple languages, because India is not just English. Then this is the largest corporate mind map in the world, 25 feet long. Dr. Stanley of Boeing Corporation saved $10 million in the first year of quality control by deconstructing, in a way, and portraying the Boeing 747 components on a mind map. Could the mind map have been better? Of course, but it's very clear anyway, and they saved $10 million in the first year. This is me with Tony Buzan in Singapore, and I was interviewing him that day and challenging him and his perspective, and he was giving highly competent rebuttals to every challenge that I gave him. We had a lot of fun, And he was the type of man who welcomed a challenge, who never acted like a dictator, and was a very joyous spirit. So you can imagine how much fun we've been having there. I would love every teacher to have that experience. So the path to disappointment, you see, what happens in every household, I've noticed here, they try, fail, complain. And what happens? The brain gets demoralized. The path to success, they try, fail, learn, and win. You cannot without failing here and there, without making errors. You have to learn through error, not through terror. This is crucial. Now, if I show this performance grid, whereby you will notice this is a matrix between your present ability and your personal expectation. There are a lot of people who have parents, a lot of children with parents who have great personal expectations, very high, very positive. But if the present ability is negative over here, the outcome is going to be disastrous. Also, even more dangerous, if your present ability is high, but your personal expectation is low, you're a genius, but you don't believe so, you're going to have a disaster. You must have high present ability and high personal expectation. And my recipe to all teachers is, no matter how dumb you think a kid is, look upon the child from the perspective of possibilities, not where the child is, but where the child can be. And that child can be right at the summit of possibilities. Then 1% improvement per year, per day. If you do 1% per day improvement, you will have 37.78 times better after 1 year. That's what will happen. And if you convert that into a percentage, so you're here, if you convert that into a percentage, multiply by 100, you will have 3,678% improvement. It's a miracle. What do we have? People postponing, procrastinating, etc. I'm giving the simplest formula. Just try to improve 1% a day. So 1.01 is 1% to the power of 365 for 1 year. And you improve like that, multiply by 100, and you will get a learning miracle taking place. This mindless giving of homework should become home play. If the classroom instruction is really fun and effective, you will never have homework. You will have home play. And you're given the task, please improve 1% a day and show us how, and exchange perspectives. We are going to have a country full of geniuses. Now, the World Economic Forum, I'm sure that you're in touch with them, has declared cognitive flexibility as one of the top skills needed to excel in 2020 and beyond that workplace. How can we have cognitive flexibility when we have cognitive rigidity? We have our textbooks bound in cast iron. There's no room for open-ended thinking. As I said, our children are not engaged, they are encaged. Those teachers who've broken the cages and invite engagement, they need to be lauded and applauded all the way. They need to be celebrated. In fact, our teachers who are like that need to be given every possible benefit by the government because they are the custodians of the next generation. They should be paid really highly. They should be given housing and transport and food and medical health benefits and things like that. Not happening. Imagine, look across the country. 1.5 billion people moving fast towards 1.7. Now look across the country. Look at our rural climes. I mean, there are children looking just into space. Imagine those places that do get the teachers, those teachers are underpaid, overworked, are totally dedicated. There has to be a mission to nurture and nourish the teachers, to celebrate the teachers, and I fight for that too. My first fight is fighting for the futures of the children. But I'm going to lose that fight if those children do not have teachers, and we must therefore fight for the futures of our teachers. So cognitive flexibility, I've drawn it like this, like Leonardo da Vinci's Universal Man. And there are 4 principles here. Study the art of science, study the science of art, use and develop all your senses, especially your sense of vision, and remember everything connects to everything else. So this is touching blended learning. So when you're learning physics, the teacher should ask, what has physics got to do with football? What has football got to do with chemistry? What's chemistry got to do with English, etc., right? So when you have a consilience of all different subjects converging together and blending, imagine the body of knowledge, insights, wisdom, cultural exchanges, and the movement from harm to harmony taking place across the planet. I repeat, education is oxygen, learning is liberation. So I drew the brain in a Da Vincian context where multiple intelligences plus cognitive flexibility will give you the universal brain, like Da Vinci's Universal Man. So the universal brain is what is the full spectrum brain. It's the full spectrum state of consciousness. I do not want you to say you must have a mindset. You must have a mind state, because if your mind is set with the wrong formula, it's set in concrete and you cannot escape. You must have a flexible, cognitive flexibility, mind state that is dynamic and changing with the context. So here's my drawing of India, learning capital of the world, one time. But I want for every country to see themselves as learning capitals of the world in a plurality, and where there is an epicenter of a learning revolution, state by state, city by city, locale by locale, country by country, continent by continent. We can do it. We can do it. We have to be burning for learning. The future, therefore, demands a fresh resume. We cannot stick with the present resume. It will not do. It's already obsolete. So en route to self-efficacy, we need these complementary skills in mind planning, fact-finding, goal setting, and action taking, as I've shown on the screen. And then from my martial arts background, 3 Japanese terms. Zanshin, where you've got to be alert and aware. Mushin, you have to have a clear mind. And Fudoshin, emotional balance. If you don't have these qualities, what's going to happen is that you're going to be unsteady. You'll be falling over. You'll lose your balance. You'll topple over. You'll become a victim and not a victor. So these should be part of the syllabus. How to do the fact finding, how to do the goal setting, action taking. None of this is part of our syllabus. It is curriculum, management, lesson plans, and syllabus regimentation. But how do you do it effortlessly? How do you flow? There are 3 bones of success. I've drawn them like this: a wishbone, a backbone, and a funny bone. I know we have 206 before anybody challenges that, but I'm using this as a metaphor, right? So the wishbone is to dream on and to continue believing in the power of your dreams. The backbone is to get you through all the tough times you're sure to face if you want to be a champion. And a funny bone, to not take yourself too seriously and thus be able to laugh during the times in life that are going to try and break your heart. We have to have these qualities. And the strong must pull up the weak. When you're hurting, you must go and find someone who's hurting more than you and lift them up. This is what I said earlier. An army of sheep led by a lion will always defeat an army of lions led by a sheep. What do we have, sir? You've been in the army. Our audience has knowledge of the army. Can you imagine what brave soldiers we'll have when leadership, not just due to position and authority, real leadership. What is leadership? The person who has vision, discipline, right? A conviction to win, passion, the trustworthiness and successorship, grooming other people to follow through with. You see, civilizations have collapsed when there was no successorship. Look at yesterday, I told you great universities of India, right? Nalanda and Odantapuri, etc., Taxila, etc. They collapsed in the end because conquerors came and brutalized and razed the place to dust. Ashes and dust and ashes and dust. And what happened to all the brains and wits? We can safeguard ourselves against that. So the 21st century Gurukul concept, I said yesterday, because of the time constraints, I do not want to spend too much time, but I do want to say that there are 3 precepts that come from there. And this is where I was advising this businessman in Mexico, who had this Mother Teresa type of cause in his heart to help 10,000 children at a time with the Gurukul concept. So at the bottom, I've written Sravan, the stage of acquiring knowledge of Shrutis through listening. We don't have much listening. We have tuning out taking place in our classrooms. Manan, encouraging people to think, analyze by themselves what they have heard. Think for themselves. Assimilate the lessons taught by their teacher and make their own inferences. And Nidhyasana, the comprehension of truth, recognition of its utility and the application of it in real life. Why is this not part of our policy? Why is it not part of our lesson plans and our syllabuses and our curriculums? This should be. Then what I am working on in all this as I speak with you is that the times have changed. New times demand new content and new techniques. Brain capital creation for the 21st century is a necessity. But the manner in which true learning takes place in the human brain has not changed. The brain is the brain. It's been like that, so magical, with it being ignored, crucially ignored. So great teachers add spice in the classroom encounters. I'm giving a capsule insight before I end my talk. Simplicity, S-P-I-C-E, right? Simplicity, S for simplicity, turns on the brain. Don't make it complicated. The most complex stuff can be made simple, but the most complicated is going to kill you. Passion animates the encounter. If you have a passionless person in the classroom, you might as well go to a cemetery, you'll get more life there. Imagination, it expands the possibilities. I told you ROI is not return on investment. ROI is return on imagination. Creativity, it enriches the freshness of ideas. And energy powers the engagement to the long term. We have so many people rushing every day. Why? They say, I have to do time management. Please do not do time management. Do energy management. If you can't manage time, only God can manage time. You can manage yourself in time through energy management. So action points for your life. I'm going to end with the 7 action points. Recognize opportunity. This must be taught to all children. And they've got to be opportunity spotting by the day. So by the time they grow up, they are incredible assets to the nation. Strategize to make choices. They need to make choices because we are spoiled for choice now. You know, there's so many things happening, what to choose. So be careful of judging too soon and deciding too late, but make thoughtful choices. Develop and maintain focus, but remain flexible. Cognitive flexibility, remember? Practice daring. Dare to fail. Dare to dream. Dare to learn. Dare to love. Dare to venture forth. Develop character. Please do not be a crook. Please live with integrity. Every child is born innocent. They should not be exposed to them being tempted into corruption. Develop convictions, not just hopes and dreams, but convictions whereby you are sure of where you stand. And have a philosophy of life. Imagine every child writing their philosophy of life and checking it decades later. How were they thinking? How were they acting? What plans did they have? So we cannot recycle wasted time. This is my map of everything I've been talking about on one sheet of paper. Imagine the average person who makes a speech can take 30, 40 pages. So the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one small step. There's one of my gurus, Lao Tzu from China. And that's me in my brain mobile. So I shall end for you in Spanish, not in English, then I will translate. I hope that is palatable. El día que tú naciste, todos rían, tú solo llorabas. Vive de tal manera que cuando mueras, tú solo rías y todos lloren. I will translate. On the day that you were born, everyone was laughing, Only you were crying. May you live in such a way that when you die, only you are laughing and everyone else is crying. Good night, God bless, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Indeed, on the World Teachers' Day, today you have made such a wonderful road in to our heart, our soul, our spirit. And there's so much we have picked up. And you mentioned, there are key takeaways, each and every word what you have spoken. It's something which we have to take as a treasure. And those of us, those are in education ecosystem. This is very rare when we come across people, personalities, souls, spirits, wisdom, cerebrum, and people, those are of your stature we come across. We are privileged. We are privileged today that on the World Teachers' Day, you have been so kind to spare your most valuable time and to be with us. I'm so grateful to Mr. Tyrone because he is the person. And when I told him and when I discussed with him, he told, Doctor, leave it to me because I have been bothering him for almost 1 year now. We are friends for 1 year. And I told him the next year, which is coming on 5th of October, 2021, I want someone who can really shake up the system, wake up the system, and tell all of us what's going on, what should be done, and how it can be done. I think you have packaged everything so beautifully. We have to keep reinventing ourselves again and again. And the mind state, what you have mentioned, which is dynamic, and how India should become the learning capital of the world once again. Punaha Vishwa Guru kaise banna hai? People, those are watching from rest of India, and people, those are watching from world over, those have not traveled to northeast part of India. I wish to tell all of you that in the 15th century, 16th century, 18th century, 19th century, until the Britishers had come over here, Assam was contributing maximum to the global GDP from India. It was Northeast. It was the beautiful places and the people in the Northeast. I have been linked for the last 40 years, and every time I travel over there, only one thing touches me. They're very simple. They're very nice people. We got to do the hand holding and we got to take them on board now. I'm so grateful to the vision of the Honorable Prime Minister as far as the Northeast linking is concerned. 26th of November, I have booked myself 14 nights, 15 days, the train trip to the 5 states of Northeast. And I would strongly recommend those who have not traveled to Northeast. This is the train. It's under IRCTC. It is going to start from Safdarjung Airport. Somebody may not feel that I am basically doing the marketing for them. I'm just thinking about India. I'm just thinking about my country. And I'm thinking about those 5 crore brothers and sisters, those are in travel and tourism, who lost the job in the couple of months during these terrible times of COVID. Now, Dilip Mukherjee, sir, yesterday I made a mention to you. Today, once again, I become further humble. And this soldier, putting both the hands right in front of you, would like to make a request to you as a human being. Once in a month, 1 hour, please dedicate to our chamber. I would like to get the global connectivity. Might have been some shortcomings at our end because sending across the message to everybody, reaching out to everybody. There are lots of people world over who want to serve the humanity, who wants to get the binding through education and make world a better place where every child can smile, laugh, earn, learn, and pick up the threads, and they become self-sustaining. That's what I wish. And I'm also living for a day when 100 children, I announce from this platform, I'm ready to give from my chamber a free coaching to all young boys and girls. Those are interested to become Army, Navy, Air Force officers from Northeast part of India. Prepare yourself. I'm waiting for that particular day. Yesterday, DILIP Mukherjee, he gave me few more years to live. He told you're going to live for few more years. He granted me. I think he must have had a telephone call on the Geo with the Almighty. And he asked him, can I give few more years to Major Dr. Gulshan Sharma? I'm looking for a day when 100 young boys and girls with the glittering stars putting on Army, Navy, Air Force uniform from the Northeast part of India, standing together, walking together, saluting together from the rampart. And all of you, let's bring proud to India. And India, Punah, once again, has to become Vishwaguru, learning capital of the world. We become more humble, sir, and our deepest regards, gratitudes, thanks, and all the salutations to you for your wonderful insight. जाते जाते जो लोगों को आदत होता है मांगने का, वो मांगते रहते हैं. मैं आपसे जाते जाते भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा, कुछ ऐसा कह जाइए, कुछ ऐसा दे जाइए, और कुछ ह्यूमैनिटी के लिए ऐसा कर जाइए, because that remains like a sermon with all of us. Your closing remarks, which you would like to tell the global teachers, those are watching, people, those are watching from London, people, those are watching from Australia, people, those are watching from ASEAN countries, people, those are from New Zealand, Central Asia. My deepest thanks and gratitudes and regards to all of you. जाते जाते कुछ दिलीप मुखर्जी जी से कुछ और ले लेते हैं, क्योंकि मैं तो हमेशा मांगता रहता हूं, मुझे कुछ दे दीजिए, because the hungry man always looks forward to more for the knowledge, for the humanity, and something which we can spread across as a fragrance. Closing remarks from Dilip Mukherjee on World Teacher Day 2021 for the entire humanity. So we are waiting for you, sir. Your mic is muted.
Oh, hello. Yes, thank you so much. I thought I'd given my closing remarks in Spanish, and I translated that for you, but you seem to have ambushed my consciousness over here. Okay, I do invite questions if there are any questions from anyone.
I will just
That's
check
fine.
up. I will just check up. Mr. Thakur, Flauret, thank you very much. Dilip ji, it's an outstanding and always excellent presentation. Amazing, amazing, amazing. And Manipur, let's promote and develop the rich cultural heritage, skillful human resource. And Adil, you have written, thank you so much for sharing. Senor, is the need of the hour. We need a learning makeover. And another one, feels so proud and the pride of the Northeast part of the India, contributing so much to GDP of India. Yes, enriching information. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. These are all praiseworthy words, sir. Technology
No, I want some questions, please.
Okay. There are no questions, sir. People are just posting their comments.
Okay,
as I listen, I'm involving. Yes, it's all their praises and session. What has been enriching for all of us, please.
All right. I can understand that also, and I'm appreciative that they have listened, and I thank all of them for their words of praise and really warm sentiments. They're tremendous. They are heartwarming. I will take them into the next dimension when I pass on, much before you, of course. So you have another 28 years minimum. But in my closing, since you want me to close with a few words, I want to say something that I saw in one of the countries. I've been traveling around the world since I was 1 year old. So one of the countries I saw across a large, 100-foot wall, where it had this proclamation that molding the children for the next century. For example, children are not meant to be molded. They are meant to be unfolded. So please understand that God has imbued every child in its brain and heart and consciousness, genius that needs to be pulled up, unfolded, right? This will happen through questioning. So the other thing is, I saw in 2 or 3 countries where there are proclamations, education needs to be reformed. And it sounds very important in parliament, but that's not what it should be. Education needs to be transformed. When you transform education, you transcend the form it presently has. So you exalt it and you go to another dimension. So the vocabulary is very important over here. One has to be precise over there. Then yesterday, I had said that people cannot be sitting back and expecting the government or other people to do things. And they complain and they moan, try, fail, complain, try, fail, complain. I showed you that, right? So, and they say something must be done. But each of us must take the responsibility, pick up the baton and say, I must do something. Then the other thing is people have fear, right? So they treat fear, F-E-A-R, as forget everything and run. Instead, they should be using fear as fuel to fuel them forward, right? Adrenalize them. See, our country is full of very, very, very smart people. You know, you cannot find a stupid Indian when you go abroad. They're generally very, very smart, right? But still, half the country is still in the Stone Age. The Stone Age didn't end because they ran out of stones. It ended because of innovation, of clear thinking, of ambition, of the desire to do better, to make the world better. So my point is, it's not how smart you are that matters. It's how are you smart? You see, the teachers are praising the children, oh, very smart, so they get the high marks. But they're not teaching them to be smart in any and every context. So are they busy dying or are they busy living? Then I said yesterday, be a seeker of eurekas. Eureka, I have found it, discovery, become a discoverer, right? Become an explorer. Kids should become like that. And you must be doing it. We talked about ecological learning, where I mentioned about ecology and economy, you know, overlapping. And this means that in one of my books, I address the whole topic of soil, soul, and society. They're all connected. You cannot have a society and then you despoil the soil. You pollute it, you throw waste and garbage and denigrate it, right? And desecrate it. So soil, soul, and society are all connected, must be part of our school curriculum. Absolutely. They cannot be ignored. Then Einstein came up with his famous expression or equation, E equals mc square. E equals mc square, of course, we don't need to go into that just now, but I created another one with Tony Buzan and learned that, whereby E plus and into M equals C to the power of infinity. What that means is E is for energy, M is memory, and C is creativity. When you add and inject your energy into creativity, you'll get infinite creativity into your memory. So E plus and into M equals C to the power of infinity. And a parallel observation is this from computer science, where they know that GIGO is garbage in, garbage out. And that is true for computers, but not for the human brain. For the human brain, it's GIGG. Garbage in, garbage grows. And then we have a lot of people with garbage growing and growing, and they're thinking they are accomplishing wonders. So the wisdom within our teachers is crucial to make sure that does not happen. And I shall now say something for the collective benefit of humankind. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. We are so privileged. We are so privileged. And thank you very much, Mr. Tyrone. You brought DILIP Mukherjea sir on this platform. And ladies and gentlemen, wait for 5th of November, because today is 5th of October. So I have requested him after every 30 days, we would have 1 hour with him. So I'm a soldier. I'll keep waiting for 30 days. And 5th of November, we would get him once again. And if that would be convenient to him, but if he would be traveling, if he would be busy, then we will take some other day of his convenience. But I personally feel that our soul and we want to remain hungry. We want to learn more and more. We want to pick up more and more so that we can contribute more and more. And we got to live with the dream of DILIP Mukherjee, that is learning capital of the world. India has to become Pune, Pune, Pune. With these words, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for being our inspiration. Thank you for those wonderful, views, sharing. And we are looking forward to your forthcoming book as well, where you have given us the glimpses. We would be waiting for that. And also do keep us informed from time to time so that I can get the global ecosystem of education closer to you. And we all are looking forward for the next session.